Chapter 5 Women and the Fight for Equality. The Big Question: what did the anti-slavery movement reveal about the rights of women? Women speak out. Sisters Angelina and Sarah Grimke grew up in South Carolina. They lived with slavery, and they hated it. They felt so strongly about it that they left the South. In the 1830s, the Grimke sisters began giving talks about plantation life and slavery to audiences of men and women in northern towns and cities. Many people were shocked to hear the sisters lecture on the evils of slavery. But it was not what the sisters said that shocked them. It was the fact that these women were speaking to the public at all. At the time, women, like children, were supposed to be seen and not heard. Most men agreed with the old saying, "A woman's place is in the home." Women might speak to groups of other women, but they should not speak at public meetings when men were in the audience. That role belonged to men only. That is what the world was like for women in the first half of the 1800s. It was just one of the ways women lacked equal rights. Women also lacked equal opportunity in education. In those days, few people, male or female, got more than a few years of schooling, but a man was much more likely to finish high school or go to college than a woman was. You rarely heard of a woman who became a doctor or a lawyer. And when women did work, they usually earned very low wages. There is more. In most states, when a woman married, everything she owned, even money or property given to her by her parents, became the property of her husband. If she worked, her earnings belonged to her husband. If parents divorced, it was usually the father, not the mother, who got the children. That was the law. Because women could not vote or hold government office, the laws would not be changed unless men voted to change them. In time, men did. But the changes were few, and they came very slowly. Sarah Grimke became so angry about these laws and attitudes, she wrote a pamphlet to express her outrage. "Men and women are created equal," she wrote. She went on to say, "Whatever is right for a man to do is right for women. All I ask of men is that they will take their feet from off our necks and permit us to stand upright on the ground which God designed us to occupy." Those are very angry words, if you can certainly understand why Sarah Grimke wrote them. You might think that men who were reformers would have a different attitude about women. Some did, but most did not. One woman who joined the temperance organization found that men held all the offices and made all the speeches. She was told that sisters were not invited there to speak, but to listen and learn. Women in the anti-slavery movement were treated the same way, even though they made up more than half of its members. Ministers who strongly supported abolition refused to allow women to speak at anti-slavery meetings in their churches. That was the attitude in most parts of the world. Women delegates to a World Anti-Slavery Convention in London, England, were not allowed to take part in the meeting. They could only watch from a balcony. So you see, even when working for the cause of freedom, women were expected to take a back seat, or in this case, an upstairs seat, to men.